And now, may I present the distinguished author of Captain Nicholas, Vanessa, and many other great successes, Mr. Hugh Walpole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barrymore. Certainly an honor to be connected with putting David Copperfield onto the screen for the first time in history. And it's been a great adventure, too. And I think we all find the characters are wonderfully lifelike and human.
Let me present to you the characters in the story and a few of the scenes from the screenplay.
Our domestic comfort, the quiet, the privacy, all them your own.
Thank you, sir. Everyone,
My dearest little wife.
Step by step, I've abandoned to him my money, reputation, peace and quiet, house and home.
I kept them for you,
Finally, I see you for what you really are.
It's the world against us, and us against the world. Those of you in favor of these articles, raise your right hands and say aye!
Aye! We shouldn't hang this man.
No!
No! Hie him over the end of a gun, and we'll scatter his innards all over the sugarcane field.
You're wasting words, I say. Let's hang him.
Yeah.
You win the prize covered in blood.
Au revoir, mon chéri.
Au revoir. Quel charmant capitaine. What sort of a man are you,
Faith, I'm the sort of man you like, my dear. Man with money.
Jeremy!
Must you be forever sleeping when I need you?
I wasn't sleeping, Peter.
Well, never mind. Get ready to come about. Set the course for Port Royal.
But, Peter, the English fleet is at Port Royal. Colonel Bishop.
Sweet, merciful heaven, haven't you ears? Set the course for Port Royal!
is known as a fugitive traitor. Burn those letters in your brains, lest they be burned in your hides, too.
I've seen your pirate ways. I've seen myself bargained for and fought over. A combat between jackals. You pirates are used to taking what you want without the formality of purchase.
I'm thief and pirate, and I'll show you how a thief and a pirate can deal.
I advise you to go back to your ladies at Tortuga, who are thrilled by your bold, lawless ways.
What matters is that now I own you as once you own me. You're mine, do you understand? Mine to do with as I please.
Yeah, this is Peter Lorre speaking.
I couldn't resist the temptation to call you. I just read of your new picture that you're to make.
Oh, that's very nice of you. Thanks for your interest.
Oh, I thought you were magnificent in M. And just the other night I saw your new picture, The Man Who Knew Too Much. What character are you going to play?
Oh, it's the most unusual story. You know, it's a great love drama. I am to be a half-mad scientist. I, a poor peasant, have conquered science. Why can't I conquer love? He shall be shut up when it's I who am mad. But nobody knows that. Yes, each man kills the thing he loves.
No one leave. Move only at your peril. We will not stop until we have discovered the vampires who seek the life of this beautiful girl and her lover. Watch out! They may be hovering over you, or you, or you! Danger stalks through the night. No one is safe.
Their fury would follow us to the ends of the earth. No, we must destroy them all together.
Scourge of mankind, they shall be found. I hereby summon to this place next week every person within the sound of my voice. You shall be judges of this eerie conspiracy. Here we shall meet Lionel Barrymore, Elizabeth Allen, Bela Lugosi, Jean Herschel, Lionel Atwill. Mark of the Vampire.
Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. It is Thursday, July 29, coming up on 6 p.m. Actually, it's after 6 p.m., so it's time to start the movie. All of those movie trailers I showed you during the pre-roll there were from 1935. That's the year tonight's movie is from. She, produced by Marion C. Cooper, the creator of King Kong. So you know it'll be spectacular. You know it has that Marion C. Cooper look to it. Anyway, I didn't watch those trailers when I put them together. That was interesting. Boy, Olivia de Havilland was giving Errol Flynn a piece of her mind there, wasn't she? And then that weird that weird trailer with Peter Lorre, who's just lounging at home when someone calls him about his movie. We need to bring that back. We need to have like Paul Rudd just lounging at home wearing an ascot, and someone calls him about the new Ant-Man movie. Or someone just happens to drop by to talk to him about or like Bela Lugosi reading from a scroll. The name of every star in the film. We got to bring that back. That was hilarious. But then there are two movies there that we need to watch for Halloween. Mad Love with Peter Lorre and Mark of the Vampire with Bela Lugosi. I've never seen those. I've never even heard of them. Now, I've been wondering. I've went on this show before. I've been wondering at which point did Peter Lorre become a horror icon? Because he didn't start out that way. He was in adventure movies and dramas. Happy Gothart. Carissa just rated us with 2 viewers. Hello, 2 viewers from Carissa's channel. We're about to see a hell of a movie. We were talking about Peter Lorre, but apparently this movie, Mad Love, that we just saw the trailer for, is where Peter Lorre turned into a horror icon. He had the voice. He said, "It is I who am mad," which is a line that Ren and Stimpy used many times. It is I who am mad. I didn't know where that came from. Learning every day. Did you see that outfit he was wearing with the goggles and the neck brace? Yeah, we need to see that. Hi, Carissa, are you here? Did you come in? Learning, says Carissa. Yes, that's what it's all about. Shenlong is here. Who else is here? We've got 6 people in the chat. I'm going to be laughing about that Peter Lorre thing all night. It is I who am mad. We've got to see that. That and that Lugosi film. Anyway, we're about to see the movie She from 1935, which was the second movie adaptation of this story, an H. Rider Haggard novel. The first one was 10 years earlier, 1925 or 26. And it was remade again in the 1960s, again in the 1980s, and I think again in 2005. Shenlong was SpongeBob. I am a man. I haven't seen that line from SpongeBob. Does he say it in the Peter Lorre voice? Anyway, this movie, this story, this H. Rider Haggard novel called She, was written in the 1880s. It's been filmed many times. The book has never been out of print ever since it was first published. The year it was published, it was the best-selling book in the world. It was Haggard's third novel. Excuse me. Let me correct that. It was his third hit novel. He apparently wrote books before those. His first big hit was King Solomon's Mines, followed by the sequel, Alan Quatermain, and then She, which was followed by another sequel called Return of Aisha, was the name of that is She's actual name. Dr. Love from D-Live. I couldn't think of we never get people watching us on D Live, so I'm glad you're here. It says the 1965 version is the best with Ursula Andress. Well, I'm showing this one because, well, it's a 1935 film produced by Marion C. Cooper, who was the creator and producer of the original King Kong. Chris is here. He says, I'm on and off AFK for a little half an hour, but it's great to see you. You too. Thank you for being here, Chris. It stars Randolph Scott, who we've never seen in any of these movies we've shown, and a woman whose name I don't recognize, but we'll talk about her afterwards. I'm ashamed of it. I don't know who she is because she had a significant political career after this. It also has Nigel Bruce in it, who's famous for playing Dr. Watson in the classic Sherlock Holmes films. So we're about to see a hell of a picture. And I'll talk at length about H. Rider Haggard and about this story later. But first, we're going to watch a couple of cartoons from 1935, as usual. 1935 was a hell of a year for movies, as you saw, and also for cartoons. Let's go into the TV room. But first, I'll show everybody the money thing. This is what we raise money for. The donation address, the PayPal address, is on screen here right below my face. And if you look in the Twitch chat, there's a clickable link where you can donate. There's also a link to our online store where you can buy t-shirts and so forth. I don't have the t-shirt here with me. Where did I put it? Well, whatever. Dr. Love says the 65 version isn't public domain, unfortunately. Well, I'm not so concerned about that anymore. We started out showing only public domain films. Once we started streaming over Twitch, I became much less concerned about that. We started out at a retail space here in the Seattle area, Dr. Love. We started at a retail space that was a video studio and a photography studio, and we were having we were having artist markets on the weekends, and on Saturday evenings we showed movies in the space to bring people in, and it was starting to work. But about 3 months after we opened our doors, COVID-19 hit. We had to shut it all down. So once we started, I switched to streaming live over Twitch, and at that point, I was much less concerned about public domain. I don't think this 1935 movie we're about to show is public domain. It's surprising what is public domain and what isn't, and it's also surprising what public domain films will cause copyright problems, even though they're public domain. So the only solution is to just not really care that much. I'm glad to see you here, Dr. Love. How did you find out about us? Where did you find us? Whatever the case, I hope you'll follow us. Every Saturday morning we show bad cartoons. And I have a co-host with me on Saturday mornings. This is our first time showing movies on Thursdays. We usually show them on Saturday evenings, but Saturdays are getting to where people can't come to the movies on Saturdays because people are starting to go out again, and I can't get any co-hosts for Saturday evenings, and I want co-hosts for these movies. So Thursdays may be better. Anyway, let's get started with the cartoons. I'm going to show you a Popeye cartoon from 1935, Max Fleischer film called King of the Mardi Gras. Let me start over because I don't have the sound turned on. There we go. From what I've read, this is the first time that Jack Mercer did the voice of Popeye.
Cause I'm king of the Mardi
That's my favorite period of Popeye cartoons, the late 1930s. Again, when they would play the Stars and Stripes Forever, when Popeye would cut loose. I always thought that was perfect. The perfect cartoon music is John Philip Sousa music is perfect cartoon music. For Popeye beating the crap out of Bluto and Monty Python's Flying Circus, John Philip Sousa, the best cartoon music ever. Oh wow. There's not much else I can say about Popeye and the Fleischer Studios. I've talked about them at length before. I've got another cartoon from 1935 I want to show you. This one is called The Sunshine Makers from the Van Buren Studios. And it is in color, which is very unusual for 1936. It's directed by Burt Gillett, who was one of Walt Disney's first group of animators. And he was hired away to Van Buren in New York, where he directed cartoons there, most of which are entirely forgotten, and for good reason. This one is memorable for you'll just have to see it. You'll just have to see it. Who all's here? We've got 9 people in the chat. I'm glad to see everybody here. Cherry is here. Carissa's here. I hope Dr. Love is still here. Chris says he's coming in and out. Shenlong, is everybody still here? Carissa says all the cool people. Yep. All right, here we go with the Sunshine Makers. Oh, excuse me, directed by Ted Eschbaugh. The animation director was Burt Gillett. Processed in Cinecolor. You see down there at the bottom. This was before Technicolor became the standard, and you can tell. Paganism.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The sun is the one who fills you with fun and shoots your blues away. And we are the ones who bring in the sun and do it every day. Hail His Majesty, hail His Majesty, hail His Majesty the sun.
Hail His Majesty the Sun. It must have been a real novelty for audiences to see a cartoon in full color like this in 1936. Oh, wow. Look at how the lighting changes when the bottle is full of sunlight. Yeah, Carissa, liquid sun. This cartoon was rebranded in 1940.
Sunshine, I get lots of good old golden sunshine. Sunshine, sunshine, it's just the thing to keep you feeling fine.
Dumb song. This was rebranded in 1940 as an advertisement for Borden Milk. And this copy of the film, at the very end, it has the Borden logo on it.
Sunshine, sunshine, I get lots of good old golden sunshine.
Sunshine, bah. Joy, bah.
develop a yellow streak there. Visual pun.
We're happy when we're sad.
We're happy when we're sad.
Always feeling bad. How are ya? Terrible. That's fine. We're happy when we're sad.
It's still on him. Barricade the doors. Yeah, Carissa, stick around. Don't miss this. Ooh, swamp gas. He's up there on his lookout flower. Sun bombs. Wait. How did that happen? Oh, they go down the chimneys? Is that what the... See, audiences today wouldn't buy this. Audiences today would respect the swamp as being beautiful and natural too. Yeah, they went down the chimneys. Yeah, you're siding with the Sunshine people so far, Carissa.
I don't want to be happy. I want to be sad. I don't want to be happy.
Oh my God.
I want to be happy.
I want to be glad. I want to be happy and glad and never again be sad. I never will cry. I never will sigh because I want to be glad.
The skeleton is lit up.
He never will cry. He never will sigh because he wants to be glad. And now the world looks bright and fair because the sunshine everywhere.
See, it says Borden's there at the bottom. That was restored by Thunderbean. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Thunderbean, that's B-E-A-N. Yeah, Dr. Love, radioactive sun juice. Those of you who are not familiar with Thunderbean, look him up. He restores cartoons and films that nobody else wants. He's been doing it for many years. And thanks to him, he's restoring stuff that's not even good. He restores everything that he can find, which is the right thing to do. Yeah, Carissa, they have every right to be happily unhappy. Happy. I don't want to be happy. I want to be sad. Here, force this down your throat. How familiar are we with that attitude? Speaking of, I was going to talk about Burt Gillett. He was the guy who was the animation director at the Van Buren Studios at the time. Happily unhappy. I like that. Yeah, says Chris. Yeah, Burt Gillett, he had been hired by Disney as one of Disney's first stable of animators. He was instrumental in the early development of the Silly Symphony cartoons. He did a lot of work on a lot of Mickey Mouse cartoons, and you could see what he was trying to do there. He was trying to do the lavish, full-color Disney Disney kind of fairy tale animation there, and it wasn't really working quite right. He was trying to reproduce the Disney aesthetic and the Disney process at Van Buren, which was a really small studio in New York City, and it wasn't working. And he was treating animators the same way that Disney treated him, which was bad. Disney treated his animators very badly. He underpaid them. Burt Gillett went to Van Buren and tried to do the same thing there, and it just didn't work. He had people quitting and leaving and protesting, and he reacted the same way Disney did. He called them all communists. When they would try to unionize, he would have them fired. He was not a nice guy, but he learned that from Disney. Yeah, Carissa, proof that bad treatment is contagious. Yeah, what a jerk. There are Seamus Culhane, who's a famous animator who worked on Snow White and Pinocchio, and he later worked for Walter Lantz on the Woody Woodpecker cartoons. He wrote a biography that I read an autobiography that I read back in the 80s, and I don't remember much about it. But he worked for Van Buren during this period, and he speculated that Van Buren was bipolar. Of course, this was decades before people knew what bipolar was. So some days he would be energetic and upbeat, and others he would be furious. Culhane claimed that he actually assaulted people, that he hit people. But then Seamus Culhane made up a lot of stories, and people, a lot of other animators have questioned almost everything in Culhane's book. I read the book, and he was a blowhard. He was definitely tooting his own horn quite a bit. James just came in. James says, "I'm here." Well, that's a way to announce yourself. It's just type in, "I'm here." Glad to see you, James. We're gonna see the movie She from 1935. There's the poster. This is based on a novel written by H. Rider Haggard in the 1880s. He was a tremendously popular novelist. This was I believe his third book, his third successful book. His first was King Solomon's Mines, the hero of which was Alan Quatermain. And the sequel to that book, which was almost as big a success, was just called Alan Quatermain. And then his third book was She. And there was a sequel to She called Aisha Returns. That's her proper name. And you're going to see She tonight. H. Rider Haggard was the guy who invented a whole new genre when he wrote King Solomon's Mines. He invented what's called the Lost World genre. He was the first novelist to write a story about a Westerner, European explorer, traveling to far-off unexplored lands and discovering lost civilizations. Edgar Rice Burroughs, H.G. Wells, Jules Verne, H.P. Lovecraft, they all followed in his footsteps. So they were crucially different from Haggard in that he, when you hear about these stories about a white man traveling to lost continents, you think imperialism, racism. His books weren't like that. In fact, the the first book, King Solomon's Mines, Quatermain refused. He was exploring in deepest, darkest Africa, looking for the lost mines of King Solomon, which is a biblical, mythological figure. He refused to use the N-word. He chastised his men for using the N-word. Think about that for a second. A writer bringing up that attitude, that anti-racist attitude in the 1880s. Quatermain told his men to respect the people whose lands they were in. They were not there to steal or to plunder. That these are their lands. These are gentlemen. In fact, one member of his troop was a deposed king of an African nation, and they helped restore him to his throne. And the first thing this king did when he returned to his throne was he abolished slavery and abolished capital punishment. How many European authors, white European authors, would be writing like that in the 1880s? And he did it again throughout the rest of his books, in She and everything. Now, think about that for a minute. The people who followed up with this style of story, H.G. Wells, Rudyard Kipling, the Conan author, what's his name? They did not have the same attitudes towards people of color as H. Rider Haggard did. And H. Rider Haggard was the first. He created the genre. But authors who followed in his footsteps only wanted certain story elements. I should put it that way. Is everybody still here? 8 people are here still watching. Well, we're going to watch She, and I'll talk about the story afterwards, because I read the novel. Totally here, says Chris. I've read the novel. I've read King Solomon's Mines. I've read She. Really great books. They don't read like books that are 140 years old at all. But Haggard wrote the first King Solomon's Mines book on a bet. On a 5-shilling bet with his brother. Because they had both just read Treasure Island. And his brother said it was the greatest book ever. And Haggard said, "No, it isn't." He said, "I could write a book better than this." And his brother said, "How much you want to bet?" And then 6 weeks later, it was 6 or 10 weeks later, Haggard pops out King Solomon's Mines. And the following year, it's the best-selling book in the world. Every publisher in England turned it down until he finally found one who would publish it. And then it was the best-selling book in the world. And so was She when it came along like 3 years later. And all these books have been continually in publication ever since then. And it's interesting that we're all familiar with the stories that he wrote, but how many people know his name? How many people know about his life? Let's go in and watch the movie. Randolph Scott. This is the first time we're seeing Randolph Scott, and I think the first time we're seeing Nigel Bruce. I'm not sure where that Ray Harryhausen Presents thing comes from. A Marion C. Cooper production. Again, he was the guy who created King Kong. And you can tell. Helen Gahagan there is the star. We'll talk about her afterwards. Hi, Chris. Ted Cheeseman, edited by Ted Cheeseman. That says Cheeseman, right?
Holly. What time is it now?
Just 10 minutes later than when you asked before.
Do you think he'll get here in time?
He'll be here any minute now. Take it easy, John. You really have to tell him tonight?
Yes, tonight. I feel that it may be my last.
No. You know you're going to get better.
Holly, what's become of your passion for cold scientific fact? There he is now. Hurry.
I believe my uncle's expecting me. I'm Leo Vinci.
Yes, I can see that. Hi, Vincent. Come along in. My name's Holly.
Yes, I can
Horace
see.
Holly.
Glad to know you. Confound your English fog. Our ship was a whole day late.
Well, thank heavens you're here in time.
Time? What's all the rush? Your cable said, catch first boat, greatest adventure in the world. What's all the mystery?
You'll hear all about that from your uncle. There's one thing my cable didn't say. John Vinci's dying.
Good Lord. What of?
Radium poisoning.
I haven't seen the old man since I was a kid.
Radium
He
poisoning.
never quite got over our side of the family going American. Why'd he send for me?
There's no time to explain that now. Every minute counts. Come along in.
I doubt that radium poisoning was part of the original novel. That's interesting.
I'm sorry, sir. I couldn't get here any sooner.
Never mind that, my boy. There's no time for explanations now. Come closer. Holly, did you ever see such a striking resemblance?
Extraordinary. I'd already noticed it.
Look at that portrait. Holly, turn on that light.
Does resemble me at that. Or should I say that I resemble him?
That is your ancestor of a dozen generations ago.
Really?
Strike a pose,
John Vinci
Randolph.
in the 15th century.
Well, I must say we Vinces have a way of looking like each other.
15th century.
I have no time for explanations now, my boy. I'm a man of science. I'm not superstitious. If I were, I might imagine that your resemblance to a man dead nearly 500 years is fate's way of showing me that you will find again what he discovered.
What is that, sir?
The means of overcoming man's enemy.
Man's enemy?
My enemy, your enemy. The enemy of all living things.
Wow.
Careful, John.
That is what I mean, Leo. That is the swinging march of man's enemy. Time, bringing death. Invisible, relentless death.
I guess nobody can stop that.
Who knows? A lot of men have believed that they could. Ponce de Leon, who searched for the fountain of youth. Or those 15th century alchemists who tried to discover the elixir of life.
But what connection is all this with me? Or John Vinci over there on the wall?
That's what your uncle's going to tell you.
Holly, get me the box.
Oh, the
Listen
box.
carefully, Leo. I haven't time left to tell you more than once.
Uncle John, I don't think you should exert yourself.
Please, please. What I'm going to tell you is a secret handed down in our family from father to son. The first John Vinci there did not go on his last great adventure alone. His wife left their son in England to go with him. For 5 years, they vanished from the world. Then one night in a town in northern Poland, a woman, ill, starving, dying, collapsed at the door of an English merchant. He took her in and heard her ravings of hardship and fantastic terror. That woman was John Vinci's widow. Before she died, she became more coherent, begged for someone to write a letter to her family in England. Here's the letter, dictated by that dying woman almost 5 centuries ago.
Well, that's an old piece of paper.
Yes, it is something of a puzzle.
Doesn't she tell what happened to John Vinci?
Yeah.
TLDR,
He was killed because
Uncle.
he refused to abandon me.
Does it give any idea where they went to?
Not much. Mentions the land of Muscovy.
Russia, eh?
Or Siberia, or Kamchatka, all known as Muscovy in the 15th century.
The place where he was killed was far, far north. She escaped with their English servant. They fell in with some natives who guided them back across a glacier, over what she calls the Schugal Barrier. There, death struck again. Holly, read it.
Then a great beast sprang on our guides and killed them all. My servant Giles killed the beast, but died of his grievous wounds. So I was left alone.
But what about the discovery you spoke of? What'd they find?
Read on.
In this strange land we saw the flame.
Read on, he says off screen.
And he who stands therein comes forth unharmed to triumph over death.
But John Vinci died there. Why, if he found this flame?
Because he was murdered.
But you are scientists. Do you really take all this seriously?
Seriously? Come, my boy. I'll show you how serious.
Oh, he's getting better. He can get up.
Come to the laboratory where Holly and I have done our life work. In the beginning, I was as skeptical as you. Then Holly and I, years ago, in this very room, began our efforts to reproduce John Vinci's life-prolonging flame. We failed.
Yeah, I was going to say you failed, didn't you?
But our researches in radioactivity carried us far enough to make us believe that such an element really exists.
An element to preserve life?
Yes.
17 years in this room. There's one other thing we ought to show him, John.
Yeah.
In the 1930s, they added
Make out the
radioactivity.
It means here burns the flame of life.
That is the sole possession Vinci's wife had left. She sent it to the son she never saw again.
It's all so mysterious, it doesn't make sense. This thing's gold, not an unknown element.
To be sure it's gold. It's only the symbol of the flame of life, John Vinci found.
Don't you understand?
I'm afraid I don't. Flame destroys life.
1,000 volts of electricity will destroy life. But increase the frequency and you may safely take 1,000,000 volts through your body. The radiation from this unknown element, this flame of life, may be 1,000,000 degrees hotter than any fire we know. Or it may be as cold as ice.
That's too much. A cold flame?
Did you ever hear of a man being burned by X-rays or radium?
Mm-hmm.
Did he feel himself being burned? No, no more than I did myself.
This flame of life, Vinci, is pure radiation. The most intense and flame-like radiation in the whole universe.
Radiation from what?
From the unknown element.
Do you really believe such a thing exists?
We no longer believe, we know it exists. Our experiments prove that.
That's right. They also prove something else. This element cannot be artificially produced.
Only nature, only God can produce it.
But where?
In a glacial region of volcanic character.
That's largely guesswork, isn't it?
No. Not if the family legend is true.
No.
And I believe that it is. I believe that John Vinci found that flame. And that it still burns somewhere, remote and mysterious, offering eternal life. That's why I've sent for you. You're a Vinci, the last of us. Holly can't do it alone, but he'll go with you. John Vinci was an explorer. It's in your blood, too. The love of adventure. Don't look upon this as a deathbed wish. If you should try, if you succeed, I shan't be here. But I hope that somehow I shall know, and somehow share in your triumph when you say, here burns the flame of life.
Uncle John. John.
I was waiting for them to zoom in.
John!
Ooh, did he kick the bucket right then? Okay, Cherry Round says this movie got off to a good start. Yeah, Haggard was a hell of a writer. Traveled for months to the almost northern rim. And Cherry also says, when people say there's no time to explain, and then they go ahead and explain. Yeah.
Let's hope this chap has some tea.
I'll take mine with a big reindeer steak.
Yagana! Fine old northern hospitality. Nothing in the world like it, they tell me.
In the novel, they definitely did not go to the Arctic.
Northern hospitality, eh?
Come here, Texu.
Santa Claus doesn't want people coming in there.
Well, I'm blown. I thought you were some of those infernal wandering chantos. Can't take any chances with them.
Don't we know it? Stayed with a tribe of them last week.
Planning to stay here tonight, I take it.
We hope so.
Come 20 miles today.
Come in. Come in. Sit down, both of you. There's a big stew on the stove just about ready.
Nice good.
Plenty to go around.
Plenty of space in there. What is
Hey,
it?
how about supper? Do we eat or don't we?
What? Judy Garland runs in the room? What's
Yeah?
that?
Oh, that's my daughter Tanya. Sit down.
Yeah, Cherry. Even has Toto with her.
Thank you very much.
She's all in a panic.
Now then, gents. Do I understand you want to do business with me?
We heard you had the post furthest up country. We thought you might be able to help us get some natives to go on.
Where do you want to go?
Did you ever hear of the Shugal barrier?
Oh, yes. I've heard natives talk of it.
There at last. We're on our way.
On your way where?
Over the Shugal.
Oh, you're crazy.
Why?
You'll never get a native to guide you there.
We'll pay 'em well.
That ain't the point. They're afraid to go, I tell you.
Why?
Because no one who got over ever came back, so far as I know.
Why didn't he come back? What lies beyond the Shugal?
More of the same, I suppose.
Radioactivity.
Of course, the natives have tales about it.
What did it say?
I never paid much attention to their foolishness.
I can tell you.
You can?
The stories are too
The
dirty.
natives say that beyond the sugar there are terrible dangers. They say...
Bah. Yes, go on.
Why, it's just a sort of legend.
What is the legend?
A long time ago, they believe, a woman came out of the country that lies far beyond the Shugo.
What sort of woman?
A white woman. She told them that she had escaped from a strange place.
Strange?
And if a man finds the way there, he will never die.
The catch in that is he dies before he gets there. Hold your trap, Tanya. You gab too much.
Wait. Is there anything in the story about fire? A flame? Anything you can connect with this?
No, I don't think so.
What's that? Gold, ain't it?
Yes.
It is gold. I see. Well, now you begin to make sense. So that's what lies beyond the Shugo.
No,
Hi,
you don't
Ivory.
understand. Gold isn't what we're interested in.
Suppose I could get a few natives to go on. How much could you pay them?
Anything they asked?
Well, that's liberal enough. Money no object, eh? Lads. No one can say old Dugmore ever let a white man down. I'll get natives to go.
Okay.
I'll run the outfit myself, and you needn't pay me a penny. How's that for an offer?
What? What about those dangers you talked about?
I'll be frank with you, gents. I figure it's worth some risk to be a partner in what you're after.
My dear sir, that's absurd. You can't be a partner in what we're looking for.
I said a partner. You try to keep me out of this. I'll fix it so that no native in these parts will come within 1,000 miles of you. Take it or leave it. Tanya, here.
It almost faded out too quick there.
I tell you again, Dugmore, you're crazy. You can't take a girl up there.
Oh, stop rowing about it. I'm sick of hearing it.
Well, we don't know what we're getting into.
Well, what's your idea, then? To leave her here alone, with no one around for 400 miles except a lot of wandering shantos? Would like to get even with me? Anyhow, we want somebody to cook.
My dear, has anybody taken the trouble to ask you what you want to do?
I want to go.
There, you see? She wouldn't leave her poor old pa.
If there weren't a place to leave her, I wouldn't let her come along.
Does she have the little dog with her, too? Looks like she's holding it.
Think you'll be all right?
I'm all right.
Come along, let's go.
Okay, in the novel, they did not take a woman on their on their expedition. And they went to deepest, darkest Africa. Down through Ethiopia. And then into the interior from there. I wonder why they chose the frozen north for this. Is that a person standing? I can't tell.
Hey, Duckmore! Look, that may lead to a way over the Schuylkill barrier. What do you think?
Well, let's hope so. We've followed that cliff for a week without finding a way through it. Anyhow, it'll be a shelter from the wind. And the dogs can't go on without a rest. Hurry up with that food, Tanya.
It'll be ready as soon as I get it thawed out.
I wouldn't mind being thawed out myself.
Leo, this is no place to camp.
Dugmore says the dogs need a rest.
I don't like it. Sitting down here under this wall of ice, it's dangerous.
What's the matter with you now? What's dangerous?
There you are.
Oh, what of it? You've heard that several times lately.
In this narrow place, any noise might start vibrations which might cause an avalanche. Merely shouting might do it.
Ah, pipe down. Who's lived in the North for 20 years?
I was
Me
about to
or
say.
you? Lecture yourself out of that, Professor. You. Hurry up with that grub.
I still don't like it.
Smells good.
Tastes good, too. Snow rabbits.
Are the ones I shot?
Snow rabbits.
Oh, I'll fix that.
You don't have to help me.
But I want to.
You think having me along is a nuisance.
Oh, we couldn't get along without you.
I wish you really meant that.
I do, honest.
Because I can cook?
Well, not only that, but there's another reason. Your father. If it weren't for you, I couldn't get along with him for a minute. But with you here, I find him at least bearable.
I know.
That isn't very nice of me, is it?
I can't blame you, but
I understand. He's your father.
you see, I was brought up by the Russian sisters at Urupchi. The convent broke up about a year ago, and then he came and took me to the trading post. He said he was my father.
I begin to understand.
It's all right, really.
But it isn't all right.
Hmm.
When we get back from this trip, I'll teach him how a girl like you ought to be treated. If I had a daughter like you, don't you think I'd love her and show her that I do?
Would you?
Well, of course I would. I don't see how you can help loving you. Why, you're...
Vincy! Vincy, Holly! Holly!
What's up?
The natives have just come down from the glacier, shrieking something about a white man. Let's go up and see what it's about. They'll show us the way. Mangolanda.
Dang.
Come on.
Yeah, they totally changed this to northern Russia or Mongolia or something. Oh. Oh, whoa, wow.
By the Lord Harry. What a beast. Holly, what is it?
Unless I'm balmy, it's a saber-toothed tiger. Think of it, man.
Well, that's a new one on me.
Wait, what?
Saber-toothed tiger. They've been extinct for thousands of years, haven't they?
Okay, I
In
see.
all known parts of the world, yes. But here, they must have been preserved in that ice for 400 or 500 years. They must have camped in this glacier. Look how that man's dressed.
Holly, the servant. The faithful servant who was with John Vince's wife. What the parchment say, remember?
By Jove, Leo, you're right. He killed the great beast, but died of the wounds it gave him. And she escaped alone. Remember?
Holly, we found our way, the way to the flame.
Look. That stiff's got a chain round his neck. And there's a ripped canvas bag.
Oh.
It's gold. This ice ain't so thick, and with this axe...
Don't be a fool. You heard what Holly said about any vibration causing an avalanche.
Oh, the professor says a lot of things. Come along. Let's get out of here.
This went too far right here.
Duck ball! Duck ball! Duck ball! Stop it, you fool!
Bang. Oh, wow. And bury the whole camp? There were other people down there, right? Yeah, Cherry, that avalanche and the fall were pretty good effects. The frozen man and the saber-toothed tiger in the ice, not a good effect.
There's no hope for the others. You know that.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
No sledges, no food, and no way back.
And no way forward. Holly, look.
Wait a minute.
This
Good.
was covered by the glacier.
Good music.
It may lead through the barrier.
Tanya?
All right.
Very modern
At
sounding.
least this is a shelter from the wind.
Interesting formation. Pity there isn't more light.
Oh, I'm tired.
It's a shame there isn't more light. Is that what he said?
You've had a tough time of it.
Hey, speaking of light. Uh-oh. Radium.
Leo! Leo, Tanya! Come quick! Look! There's our way.
Our way? Where?
What are you talking about?
Don't you understand? They're fumaroles. Volcanic formation. 1 hour ago, ice. Glacial ice. And now, volcanic heat.
I get it. What Uncle John talked about.
We could never get through.
Of course we can. Listen, Tanya. When I wanted to leave you at the trading post, what did you say?
Why, I said I wanted to go.
All right, come on.
Wait, was that was all the conversation he wanted there?
Sulfur, of course. Phosphorus, too. That accounts for the glow. Oh, that's the last of them.
Can't we rest a bit?
Uh-oh.
Look, there's more light.
Yes, and another opening.
You got a lot of people behind you there.
Just a minute, Leo. Give them a chance to show if they're friendly.
Try your lingo, Tanya.
Takaladay. Magumgur ladek.
We greet you, my friend.
Nagoda. Nagoda.
That didn't look good.
Thank you. Nagoda. Say to him, Leo.
What does it mean?
Good day, or how are you, or greetings, or something of the kind. Don't judge them by their looks. They most probably are very friendly people. Show your confidence in them.
You know what it means, Tanya?
No.
Kastana Vaix de Salga. Kastana.
It's all right. We're coming.
I think that was a really bad idea, repeating what the guy said. Wow. You can tell this is a Marion C. Cooper production. Got that King Kong look.
Hagu, Mizana, Watu! Rakas ala Kerala! Wonderful.
Oh, they seem awfully pleased to see us, don't they?
Uh-oh, that doesn't look good.
Thank you. Thank you.
The red hot helmet? Bad idea.
You see? I was right. They're just kind, hospitable, simple people.
I'm not sure they're so simple.
Theo, do you realize what we're eating?
Some sort of melon.
It's a tree melon, something like papaya.
What of it?
What of it? Tropical fruit here in the Arctic. It means there's some sort of fertile country. Somewhere beyond these caves. It may be what we're looking for.
Uh-oh. Time for a song.
This doesn't look so good to me.
Nonsense. In fact, it's a ceremony of welcome.
Yeah, Cherry Hakuna Matata. I'm wondering why Marion Cooper decided to make this northern Russia instead of...
Steady, Tanya, steady.
You know, he might have gotten some blowback from the King Kong films with using black actors as savages.
What's up now?
As I told you, a ceremony of welcome.
Well, the red hot helmet doesn't look welcoming, Nigel.
I don't like this.
Oh, nonsense. It's most interesting.
I like Nigel's shirt there with the double row of buttons.
Come with me.
Yeah, Carissa, run away, run away. Let's get out of here before Witchy Poo shows up. Yep. Okay, Randolph's gonna open fire. There was definitely a scene in the novel where they did this. They climbed up on a shelf in a cave. Wow! Wow, Randolph. Ooh. Wow, right in the head.
You all right, Leo? Dagger!
What did he call him?
Nagoda?
Yeah, that's what Nagoda meant. He looks at, he takes one look at the helmet and he says, Nagoda? I think I said, yeah, Nagoda.
Mardi Gras! What by you? To the core!
Cherry says they couldn't have possibly thought it was a good idea to cook new people. In the novel, I can tell you that the locals surrounding the lost city were instructed to kill all intruders. However,
Steady, Leo.
Leo, you are hurt.
they were further instructed to not kill
Oh, gentlemen.
if a white man shows up.
My friend.
They were told to bring a white man into the city.
No can walk. You get out. Out. Let him ride. Oh, Holly, I'm trying to tell him that Leo
Trying to
can't
give him a
walk
lift.
any further.
You old idiot. Can't you see for yourself he's hurt?
So that's what the priest is probably yelling at them about. You were instructed not to kill white
Holly,
people.
he's dying.
No, Tanya.
Because we want to know if
Bad
white people show
concussion,
up.
I'm afraid.
Do not be afraid. He will not die.
But how can you know English?
I have a wise teacher who knows all tongues. Satokor.
But wait. Who was your teacher? What is this
He
place?
said core.
Where are we going?
That's the name of the city.
What's gonna happen?
You will learn your fate from Hashamote. Satokor.
He said core again.
Tanya.
It's all right, Leo.
Otto. I said it. This is incredible.
Tremendous painting.
What
Look
is
at
this
that.
place?
Country of Kor.
Country of core. Ooh, pterodactyls. Maybe.
Tanya, think of it.
Look at that
Nobody
detail.
ever dreamed existed.
The flying birds.
No.
Wow. Even on this tiny little screen, you all can see that on the big screen, this must have been tremendous. Who is it? Okay, this one guy has to What is he doing? Oh. Okay, to open the door, he has to climb up through that hole in the wall and lower himself on the rope. That seems like a lot of trouble.
That mountain. There are stairs and a great door. What is it?
It's the palace of Hashemotep, hollowed in the heart of the mountain.
Ooh. A huge ring. Not a gong. That's interesting. Oh, wow. Wow, look at that. Yeah, Carissa probably would. Huge sheet of metal like that? Yeah.
Gan Hagagir, Hashemotep. Sigana Kaikabatu.
Sini Kamsanowat.
Inglesi.
Speak in English then, that the strangers may understand.
Returning from the journey on which you sent me, I passed the place where dwell the peoples of the caves.
I weary of those people.
There I found the strangers fighting for their lives. The cave people would have killed them.
Against my order, known these many years that any stranger must be brought to me unharmed, have not their fathers and their fathers' fathers taught them that my word is law?
They await your judgment, O Queen.
They shall not go unpunished. What is your name, stranger?
Holly, O Queen.
Welcome, Holly, though you are not he for whom I wait.
But I don't understand.
Why should you? What do you know of immortal dreams? Immortal memories?
Why should you?
But who are you?
I am yesterday, and today, and tomorrow. I am sorrow, and longing, and hope unfulfilled. I am Hashemotep, she who must be obeyed. I am I.
But you speak my language. How is that?
I learned it from a countryman of yours, long ago.
What's that? You mean there's been another Englishman here in your lifetime? Who? How long ago?
See that the strangers are well treated, Malale. I will decide later what they shall do.
And the other one?
The other?
A young man, wounded in the fight. I thought...
You thought? Bring him to me at once. So it's not enough that I should wait and hope unending years in vain. Don't forget my orders. Disobey my commands. Who gives you leave to think contrary to my will?
This scene is very loyal to the book. She appeared behind a fog,
Bring him nearer.
and people weren't allowed to lay eyes on her.
love. My dearest love. At last. You're hurt. Lolly. Lolly, take him to my chamber.
Through the forbidden door?
Through the forbidden door. The high priest is like, this is new. Yeah, in the book she wore a veil so that people couldn't actually see her face. Here, though, you can see it's a very sheer veil.
You are his wife.
No, I'm nothing to him. But he needs someone.
He will not be alone.
Leo! Please let me go. Let me go with him, I tell you. Let me go! Leo!
Yeah, I've got a lot to talk about after this. She wouldn't let people see her face, and people didn't want to see her face because she would she could shoot laser beams out of her eyes and straight up disintegrate people. It's a kick-ass book. Yeah, laser eyes. Carissa. Oh. That guy was eating on the job. Look at this set. They got their crap game going over there. Oh.
Come on, salute
Yeah. Whatever. It's just like a video game. Which I'll talk about later, because the book is like a video game too. And he just walks right through the forbidden door. God, look at these sets. Uh-oh. What the hell?
I just had to see how he is.
What gives you so much courage?
Can you help him?
He will wake from the sleep refreshed and well. There's no need to fear.
Are you sure?
Yes. Look, if you will. Then leave. How often have I watched beside him lying so? But now, this is warm flesh.
Oh. Meow.
He needs nothing you have to give. Go now. Go before he wakes. And forget him. He is not for you.
Okay, they've with this girl here, they've kind of combined a couple of characters.
Why do you hate me? Hate you? Why, you're nothing. Nothing. But once, long ago, a woman like you destroyed my happiness.
Oh.
The same thing shall not happen again.
Yikes.
How's Leo?
Leo?
You look a lot like that girl I hated in high school.
Vinci? Oh, yes. Have no fear. She will heal him.
I see. Look here. You're the most important man in the country, aren't you?
I have served she continuously for more than half a century.
What? Half a century? You're joking.
The quality of the film
Again, too
changed.
young?
Oddly enough, I wasn't thinking about you.
This may be a part of the film that was recovered, had been lost for some time and recovered.
What are you doing?
It's an old English custom.
What is it?
Smoking. Don't you smoke?
Smoke.
Smoking.
Fire. Do you worship the flame?
Of course, old boy. Don't you?
It will soon be time for the yearly offering in the Hall of Kings. There you may see the sacred fires rekindled, if she permits you to be present.
Do you think if I showed her this? What's the matter? What does it mean?
Are you tired of life? Then question she.
Are you tired of life?
But tell me, who is this who stands in fire?
Ask no more question, I tell you. It is she's own secret. Put it away.
Very well. I thought that you might know.
How should I know?
Put it away, it's
alone.
dirty.
Alone? On such a long journey?
Long journey? No. There in the Hall of Kings. You're cunning, Holly.
Why, you?
I said too much already.
Well, just tell me one more thing. How long has she ruled over Call?
All her life.
But, Tanya, what's happened?
She wouldn't let me stay. She is with Leo.
You saw him?
He's still asleep. She says he'll be well when he wakes. Oh, but Holly, I'm afraid. I feel something evil about her.
She would not let you stay to speak with him?
You mean that she is planning to keep us apart? What nonsense. Leo will have something to say about that.
You think so? But you may see him. She has commanded that you both be present at the trial.
You
You
think
mean
so?
the trial of the men who attacked us?
Punishment of the men who injured him. Mako.
What does it mean? She knows Leo. She says he belongs to her. She called him John Vinci. But Holly, how could she know John Vinci?
How could she? I want to believe it. Suppose it's true. Suppose it's true.
Yeah, see, the quality of the film changed dramatically. I like that the guy said, "You think so?" Like he's saying, "That's cute." he wakes up and he's like, "This is weird." What?
Did you dream I was watching while you slept?
Dreamed of a man dead for centuries. And you called me by his name.
Okay, he
Dreams are
did.
only memories. In the endless flow of time,
Dreams are only memories? Well, I've had some weird memories then.
Drink. Stana. Sia. Had I known you were coming, you would have been welcomed like a king.
If I'd only known you were coming. Wow.
Where are my friends?
Take food. Be strong again.
But Tanya, the girl who was...
She is here in my palace.
I remember vaguely. Someone brought us here. And you said...
What?
It's all foggy now. Who are you?
You do not remember.
How can I? I've never seen you before.
I was so sure when you came at last you would remember. I was so sure you could not forget. I have summoned slaves to attend. Later you will hear my judgment on those who dared attack you.
Okay, I think we may see some eye blasts after all.
But wait, tell me, how is it you speak my language?
And still, you do not understand.
He doesn't understand. Well, if he would explain some of it. In the book, once they met Aisha, she started talking and she did not stop. Most of the rest of the book was her
Hey, Tanya,
explaining.
What's the meaning of this? Where'd you get that outfit?
From the old man.
Bilali?
He said I was to put it on and look as well as I could.
I wonder why he cares how you look.
Good. The young man will be pleased
How is Leo?
that you will soon discover for yourself. Come. If he's well, we'll go back to his own country.
Oh, yes. Why, of course he will.
Then I hope he'll soon be well enough to travel.
Yeah. High Priest has a cushy job. He doesn't want things to change.
Tanya and Holly, glad to see you. How are you?
That's just what I was going to ask you, but there's no need. Listen, Leo, I think I've got some big news for you.
Leo, are you sure you're all right?
How do I look? Want me to squeeze you and try my strength?
What? What?
Listen to this. I pumped old Bilali about the flame and...
She summons you. Sit near the throne.
Randolph is
Go
tall.
ahead. Oh, King?
Ah, come on, the both of you.
You alone. You two come with me.
Huh?
All right, Leo, see you later.
He's like half a foot taller than everybody in the room.
There are marvels to be seen today. A stranger shares the throne, where I may scarce approach. Come.
Yeah, see, she lets these people walk right up to her, and that's not even the High Priest can do that. See, he has to get down on his belly.
I have summoned you, Holly, that you may observe how justice is meted out in court.
Oh,
Let the prisoners stand forth.
she's got her Wicked Queen outfit on. Look at that.
haunters of darkness. How you try my patience. Point out those who are reckless enough to lay hands upon me.
I'll point out those I'm sure of.
You know, I had forgotten about it, but I do remember reading now that the Wicked Queen from Disney's Snow White was inspired by that costume right there. I had totally forgotten that.
And this one.
Geez, Randolph.
This man. I believe he was the leader. That's all.
Only 4 out of all those men attacked you.
That's all I'm sure of.
They will die.
Like, hey, wait a minute.
They shall be put to death.
But I don't want that.
Would you spare them? Oh, yes. A Christian. I'd almost forgotten. I remember in the marketplace of Jerusalem, they spoke of a man who taught mercy and forgiveness. A man who died that others might live. As though death could beget life. Tell them to stand up, Bilali.
She's like, yeah, a man who taught compassion. Well, that ain't me.
Zafagen Zadol Kanagu. Namit. Kako.
People to their death like that.
The girl also tired of life.
I'm not afraid of you.
Tanya.
There is an end of my indulgence.
Yeah, hey, Tanya.
Come away, Tanya. Yes, Holly, go with her. I'm the one who spoke out of turn. We don't want these fellas butchered just because we had a fight with them. Punish them if you like, but not that.
Do you think I'm cruel for the sake of cruelty?
Then why do you torture them?
How do you think I rule these people? It's not by force. It's by terror. My empire is of the imagination.
Still, I beg you stop this.
Si sabla kilso.
Sisa.
No, we're not going to see any eye blasts.
Thanks. That makes me feel a lot better. All of us. And don't hold anything against Tanya.
What is that girl to you?
Nothing. I feel responsible for.
Oh, nothing.
May I... Do you mind if I go now? I'd like to tell her everything's all right.
Go then.
Yeah, they started to touch on one of the conversations that the two of them had in the book, where she talked about how she maintained power here.
The prisoners, are they to be turned back to the caves?
No.
Nope.
Kill them.
Kill them.
All?
All. Kill them. Make an end. Would I could kill my fears so easily.
Yeah, they had a lengthy conversation where she talked about how she was able to...
Wicked, I tell you.
Because she had ruled these people for thousands of years, literally thousands of years.
Well, after all, she didn't go through with it.
She would have killed them, except for you.
Listen, Leo.
And she
I've
would
got it.
sleep for generations at a time, and then
Got what?
she would come out of
We're going to find
hibernation
out everything we want to know.
and find the
through you.
people, you know,
Good
forgetting
idea,
about
huh?
her.
What is there to find out? Except how to escape from this horrible place.
You should have seen Bellardi when I showed him this. Almost knocked his forehead on the floor, frightened out of his wits. Said it was she's secret.
Well, why didn't you tell me?
All in good time. We don't know the secret yet.
All in good
But I'll
time.
wager pounds to
Like we
pence
had an
that
opportunity.
you're the one person who can get it from her.
Leo, please don't go to her.
Don't you worry, Tanya. Holly, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. If she knows where the flame burns, we are going to find it.
Leo.
Yeah, she explained to him that she, over the thousands of years, she had tried every form of ruling, every form of government. And the only thing that really worked was just complete control.
It's hard to be kept
She
waiting
was
for
a
one
single
waiting
immortal
so long.
person
You must have known
who
I
had to maintain power.
Think blind chance brought you here.
I came because of an old story. A woman escaped from this country and told of a strange adventure and died. She left this for her son. This woman was the wife of...
John Vincey.
John Vincey died 500 years ago. How can you know his name?
Think back. Far back. Oh, my beloved. You will, you can. Another life. A far-off, forgotten place. This place. And my voice uttering words you vowed to remember through endless time. Think.
Your voice? You... Were you the same?
Always to you. Always. Offering all. Wanting all.
You mean we... I can't believe. I have no memories.
I will show you how to look across the mists of time.
Oh yes, he's gonna use the scrying pool.
That one moment out of all the centuries. That one instant when I felt myself beloved.
Who was that man?
You do not know.
That can't be. I dare not believe it.
You will believe. Come. Do you wonder whose feet have worn away this rock? Once the stair was new and level. I've passed here day by day.
Oh, I like that.
And see, my sandals have eaten off the solid stone. Now in a moment, you will remember that other life.
Just on the stairs, though.
I see myself.
Swept by the tides of time, back to my arms.
Centuries ago, you were someone else, as I was this man here.
No, I'm the same. My life in youth endured. All through the years I've mourned here where your body lay. But now... are reborn. And my mourning is ended. Your coming is the sign of my forgiveness.
Forgiveness? For what?
I know why you've come to call. To seek the flame of life.
Come to call.
Even as I came. A young girl. So many lives ago. I took the burden of immortality upon my shoulders and bore it through unbelievable years, dark with a loneliness through which there shone a single light, fixed and unwavering. The hope of love. And so I waited for a bridegroom whose passion for life would be as fierce as my own. You came, John Vincent, and I loved you. For one moment you were mine. Then you turned from me. You had not come alone. And in my jealousy, I killed you. Again waiting, seeming longer than before. I knew you must return. Your love of life must be stronger than death. And now you're here. Nothing shall stand between us.
These are some serious red flags, Randolph.
Oh, my love. Take away my eyes. Let darkness utterly shut me in, and still my ears would know the sound of your unforgotten voice.
If I could only remember.
If you've forgotten me, then that woman who held you in spite of me, you've forgotten her as well.
Yes, I've forgotten.
She wasn't beautiful.
Oh.
She had no wisdom such as mine.
She's trash talking.
Quite leave her.
I've forgotten everything but you. Everything.
No. Now as then we two are made of different clay. Until you're as I am, come no nearer. Today in the Hall of Kings, the priest makes sacrifice and gratitude for my enduring youth. Then you shall come with me and share my secret.
I say, Leo, what did you find out?
I've seen John
What?
Vincent. What? I tell you I saw him.
Now, be reasonable. John Vincent's been dead for 500 years.
Yeah,
I tell you,
he was dead, but I saw him.
Man.
Holly, it was I, myself.
Now, one thing at a time. You mean a mummified body that
Yeah, one thing at a time.
No, Holly. I saw myself lying there.
Are you trying to make me believe in reincarnation? Rats. You knew before that you were the image of John Vincent. We both knew that.
She has been waiting for me to come back. She says I am John Vincent.
Leo, don't listen to her. Let's get away while there's time.
Holly, she is going to show me the flame.
What? Do you hear that, Tanya? But why didn't you say so in the first place? When? When do we go?
You are not to see it.
But you said...
I said she promised me the secret.
Well, then, I see. Only you?
Yes.
Oh.
You can't stay here. You'll go back the way we came, you and Tanya, as soon as the temple ceremony is over. You'll be protected. Then I go to the flame.
Leo.
Back
Don't lose your head.
Into the ice?
Use it.
I haven't lost my head. I've found memories you can't even imagine. I've seen strangeness, beauty, power, yes, immortality. And I can share it, but only I.
I've seen
Those are her
things.
turns. What man would say no? Be fair.
Very well. I'll take Tanya back with me. But let me tell you one thing, Leo. You're a fool, and you'll die for your folly, like your ancestor, John Vincent.
Randolph almost flubbed his lines a couple of times during that speech. That was weird. Oh, look at this. That balcony is like mirror smooth. It seems dangerous.
sorry, Tanya.
Don't think of me. Think of yourself.
I am thinking of myself.
Yeah, we know.
To live forever, it's what all men have dreamed of.
What's the use of living 1,000 years if you're going on being cruel and selfish? Is 1,000 years of that any better than 70?
But people would change, grow good.
Has she grown good?
Ooh.
Yes.
Did she let John Vinci escape? Would she let you escape if you loved me?
Tanya, you're not tempted as I am. Think of it. Never to grow old, never to feel age. I can't give it up.
You will live here in this tomb, always young, with her. You will never know age, no grief. That isn't the kind of love I want.
What is it you want?
Why, just two people to live together and love each other. To laugh at little things and sometimes cry over big ones. To share whatever comes along and to grow old together. And someday, when one is gone, to hope to be together again somewhere. That isn't much to offer, is it? Compared to kingdoms and power and glory that will never change.
Hail, Vinci! Ashimotep sends me to tell you that the festival of the sacred well will begin at the setting of the sun. You and Holly will be guided to the Hall of Kings.
And Tanya?
The lady may not come. No woman may view the ceremony at the well but the maidens of the temple.
I don't want to see any more ceremonies.
I'm going to talk to Holly again.
You know he's serious when he's buttoning up his sweater.
Tanya.
That wasn't a very... I wasn't very happy with that scene, with that romantic discussion of theirs. It came off as kind of silly.
Oh, why can't I make you understand? Dereki! I'm sorry. They wouldn't let me pass, and I had to see you. Well, you are sending us away. You will return to your own country. Yes, I know. Leo told us. But, please.
What is it you want?
Let Leo come with us. Send him away, too.
Send him away. Are you mad?
Eye blast time.
He came here following a dream. A dream men have followed since the first son saw his father die. He alone of all men has realized that dream. And you asked me to send him away. To send him back to you and your little mortal love.
No, no, even if he never loves me, I have to make you understand. It's not for myself. I'm pleading for him.
You're pleading for him. What can you or the world you live in offer him that will last longer than a miserable human life? After the festival in the Hall of Kings, there will be slaves waiting at the outer wall to guide you in safety to your little world. Go now. Go if you fear my anger.
She's being real easy on you, Tanya.
Then if you won't send him back, well, will you let me stay here? Where I can see him sometimes? What harm can that do? What can it take away from you? You will have everything. You will have him. I shall have nothing if you take away being near him.
I'm taking nothing away from you that was ever yours. He has been mine since... Why do I stand here talking with you? Go now!
Why are you afraid of me?
Afraid?
You are afraid. And now I see why. Because I'm human, and you are not. Because I'm young, and you know love belongs to the young. Your magic makes you seem young, but in your heart you're old, old. You were young once like me, but now you're old and it's too late for love forever. He will never love you. I know that now. Keep him here. Make him king over your slaves and savages. But he will never love you. Never, never, never. Go!
She's gonna hit you with that ukulele. Wow.
She came here from his arms.
Yeah. I'm really missing the eye blasts.
In the Hall of Kings. You shall sit beside you on the throne and watch her die and not know. Who can be blamed if she wanders away and none can find her? Send men to search. Show concern for his sorrow. All the while knowing that he watched her die and she, through her veil, saw him watching.
What is it? Where are you taking me?
Sadaska! Sinik Stagodana. Oni?
Kamio Mako Hora?
Moja, Laguna Sana. Haro, haro.
What is it? What are they doing?
It is she's command. She sends us an offering to the flames.
No. Leo! Leo!
Foolish one. Would you destroy him too? If he could hear you, if he knew your fate, what could he do? Let him try to save you, and he would be set upon by soldiers and priests. He would die with you. But he shall not know.
Oh, those are some big feet. Ew. Who are these guys? God, there's a lot of them. Got their Zardoz masks on. It's time for another song.
Salaga Sanahura.
Oh, wow. This guy. Is this the door opener guy? This is his other job? Is swinging around the temple? Wow, who made all this stuff?
Atuvamiza Pyastahura.
This is the Whoville marching band. This is Dr. Seuss horns. You have to admit, all these trappings don't look like they don't look like any historical civilization, do they? It's just all crazy. Crazy and original. Look at the horns on those ram things. Wow, the drummer's happy. Just look at this guy. It's like Munchkin Land, eat your heart out. Here's your lollipop guild. Oh, those dancers faded out. Here's the Lullaby League.
This is a happy festival for Koa. Happiest of all for me.
That girl they're bringing in, what does she do?
She carries to the gods my gratitude for the gift of enduring life.
What does she do?
Carries to the... How?
You shall see.
God, Randolph, you're dumb. Is she a dancer too? Randolph, I think she's giving him the side eye.
She will not dance.
Is she a dancer too? Neither one of these idiots even suspects. Oh wow, this totally sounds like Star Trek. Oh god, this is Star Trek music. Oh my god. He has to bless the knife.
Is this a human sacrifice?
It is the immemorial custom of the people of Kor.
You still got that rifle, Randolph?
Is that... can't be.
It's finally catching on.
Who is that girl?
Hi, Darthwing.
Who is it? Is it Tanya?
Coming in a bit late. Is it Tanya? Yeah, it's Tanya.
It's Tanya! Here to the stairs!
Oh! Oh, he had his pistol the whole time. Uh-oh. Oh, burning oil, burning oil. Oh, yikes. Oh, whoa. Whoa. That guy was actually set on fire. Wow. Yeah, that spear will hold the door. The teetering rock. Wow, look at this. On the big screen, this must have been really spectacular. And over you go. That was a really interesting way to shoot that. Just the one long static shot. Really interesting.
You found my temple, but you came the dangerous way.
Came the dangerous way. No kidding.
Here's what you sought. So the flame of life has leapt from the earth since time began.
What does the flame or anything else matter now? I want no power you have to give. I want nothing you have to give.
He thinks he loves you now. I can wait. Wait? For what? For you to grow old. Until then, you will be cared for as my dearest possession. And he will bathe in the flame and be as I am. He will grow old, withered, ugly. And when at last repelled he turns from you, I shall be standing by his side unchanged.
And if I won't go in the flame?
You have no choice. If you refuse, the girl shall die. Kill me then.
You mean if I refuse to go in the flame, you'll have her killed?
Oh, Leo, I'd rather die now.
I'll always love you, Tanya.
No, no.
Trust me. Believe in my love. I'm ready.
No, Leo, it's a trick. How do you know you won't be burned alive? If I stand in the flame and come forth unharmed, then will you follow?
I will.
Don't think you can go unpunished forever. Somewhere there's a power that won't let such wickedness and cruelty go on. Your hair will whiten. Your eyes will lose their brightness. Your cheeks will wrinkle. Your limbs will wither. While I defy the years and laugh at time. I call upon the flame most powerful, most swift, preserver of life and youth and beauty.
Wow. Wow, look at all that detail.
Your eyes will lose their brightness. Your cheeks will wrinkle. Your limbs will wither. While I defy the years and laugh at time. Now do you believe I spoke the truth? I love. I can't see you clearly. Eyes. The flame. I always sound strange to my ears. What is it? What is it?
in the sun. Dead. Dead. She cannot die.
Party of slaves that were to guide you. The gold symbol. We'll be safe. She told me.
The greatest secret in the world. And we're turning our backs on it. She staggered to the ground, a withered creature, incredibly old. And so she died, terribly and pitifully, even as her lips spoke of eternal life. But though she was dead, the power of her golden symbol reached out and held us safe. And so, after incredible adventures, we escaped to the outer world. And thus we lived to record the story in this manuscript.
It seems as though it couldn't have happened. Why, no one could believe it unless they'd been there with us.
Now that we're safe in this friendly world, do you know, I feel sorry for her.
We never shall know what really did happen. I sometimes think that her bathing in the flame a second time was an overexposure to that terrifically powerful unknown element. And sometimes I think that such inhuman immortality was never meant to be. And some greater power than she reached out and destroyed her.
After all, Holly, perhaps there is no real flame of life.
I think there is.
What?
Yes, right here.
Here?
Aww.
In this fireplace. Flame in any fireplace, in any home where two people live and love each other. And in their hearts.
Yeah. Aww. Well, that was it. She, 1935. The H. Rider Haggard story. That was very much worth seeing. That went by pretty quickly. It didn't drag, really. Some of the dialogue was silly, especially Tanya's dialogue, which was all written for the film. The dialogue from the novel was tremendous. If they had stuck to the story of the book, it would have been a much better film. Yeah, I've got a lot to say about this film if you all want to stick around. But first, I want to talk about the woman who played She. Her name was Aisha, by the way. They never mentioned that in the film. The woman's name was Helen Gahagan. And she was the inspiration for the Evil Queen from Disney's Snow White. Particularly that outfit. But she went into politics in the 1930s. Yeah, not long after this. She was oh, this is interesting. I didn't read this before. She was part of the Hollywood Anti-Nazi League. Wow. The Hollywood Anti-Nazi League? God, that needs to come back. Wow. She was elected to the House of Representatives from California in 1944 as a Democrat. Oh, interesting. Her love affair with Lyndon B. Johnson was an open secret on Capitol Hill. Oh. She was, I remember reading that she was only the second woman elected to Congress as a Democrat. Am I getting that right? And she ran against Nixon. Yeah, she ran against Nixon and lost. Nixon referred to her as the pink lady, meaning communist. Said she was pink right down to her underwear. And here's something else I didn't read before. I missed this before. She's the one who coined the term tricky dick when talking about Richard Nixon. Okay, so it was her husband who ran against Nixon. Anyway, so Nixon called her pink right down to her underwear. And she's the one who called him Tricky Dick. I always knew about that nickname. I didn't know where that came from. But yeah, I want to talk about the story. There was a lot of detail left out of the movie that they could have left in. They they didn't go to. It started the same as the book. This guy whose dying uncle revealed to him that he was descended from James is saying, no, she ran against Nixon. Okay. Yeah, I thought she did. But the book started with the guy being revealed by his dying uncle as the descendant of an ancient Egyptian, not a guy from the 15th century, but an ancient Egyptian named Callicrates, who had fled or tried to flee Egypt, but was unable to. But his young lover did flee Egypt, and she had written down all the things that we saw in that secret box of his, and made sure that it was passed down generation after generation. And finally, here was a guy who had the opportunity and the money to be able to take an expedition to deepest, darkest Africa and try to find his way back to the lost civilization of Kor, which these artifacts were telling him he needed to do. She, aka Aisha, was also Egyptian. She had been there. She had been in there ruling Kor for like 5,000 years. And she had indeed murdered Callicrates in a fit of jealousy, and his young lover, who was pregnant with his child, managed to flee Egypt. But Aisha was immediately sorry that she did it. She kept his body preserved all those millennia. That body we saw in the movie should have been a mummy, should have been an Egyptian mummy. She did indeed destroy the mummy when this guy returned. When this guy came to Kor and she saw that he was the reincarnation of a Callicrates, which is a ballsy move, because she had been preserving his body for thousands and thousands of years. But there were, like the King Solomon's Mines, and the Alan Quatermain books, Haggard included a lot of anti-racism positions, very pointed statements, and even women's rights in this particular case. Even though Aisha was the villain and a totalitarian, but let me see, where can I start? When they Holly and Leo and the captain of the ship they sailed down there on, the ship sank off the coast, but they made their way into the jungle. They were beset by mosquitoes and animals, and they finally found their way to. They were finally found by a group of men from Kor, who took them into the city of Kor and were going to kill them. And Aisha punished those guys by executing them with laser blasts out of her eyes. Seriously, she did that a number of times in the book. Just pidoo. She would totally go War of the Worlds on people and just blast, and they would disappear in a puff of ash. But the city of Kor was a matriarchy. It wasn't just Aisha that was the dictator. The women were heads of the families and the breadwinners. They were in charge. And when they brought these white men into the city and walked them down the streets, they were surrounded by, and these were black people, by the way. These were African people, not white people in the ice. They were surrounded by women, by black women, and they were taken aback by how forward these women were, even though they couldn't understand what the women were saying. They were speaking another language. These women would walk right up to them and touch them and poke them and talk about them, obviously talking about them very loudly, because the women were in charge. This was a matriarchy, and these guys were really taken aback at how these women were just they weren't what's the word? They weren't demure at all. They were acting like men. That's basically the point that Haggard was making. And here's another little detail. The men were particularly upset that the women would touch their hair. These men had light brown and blonde hair, and the women were pawing at their hair. And Haggard was being very specific about these references. He was obviously listening to what women were saying about their own lives and how they were treated, when pretty much no other men were at the time. There's a particular line later on in the book when I forget the exact line. I should have looked it up, but they were talking to one another about Aisha over the millennia had been preserving her beauty and was very focused on preserving her youth and her beauty. And one of these guys said to the other, he said, "This has made me think with horror," and he used the word horror. He said, "This has made me think with real horror how in our world I can't remember how he said it, but basically he said, we judge women solely on their appearance." And he used the word horror when he was thinking about what he was saying. Who the hell else would write like that in 1880? But yeah, I have some more things to say about what kind of man H. Rider Haggard was. And a lot more to say about Aisha. She talked at great length. The entire last half of the book was mostly just her talking, like I said before. But she had this, like I said, the scrying pool. They only showed it once in the very briefly in the movie, but she used it pretty frequently in the book, and she could see pretty much anywhere. If she knew who she wanted to see, she could see them. And anytime, and here's another thing about Haggard, he was very practical. He was very practical minded, not superstitious at all. and the Quatermain books are the same way. When anyone would mention to Aisha that she was using magic, or that she was a wizard or a witch, or that the scrying pool was magic, or her eye blasts were magic, or whatever, she would stop them. And she would do this every time. She would stop them and say, "No, there's no such thing as magic. You just don't understand what I'm doing." What else can I say? She talked about ruling as a dictator, and how she had learned repeatedly over the millennia that terror was the only thing she could use to reliably maintain control. Being a single person, okay, this is not a bureaucracy or a kingdom. And she there was no love interest for Leo. He didn't bring a love interest from England with him, but when they first entered the city, there was a ceremony, a big ceremony where they were first going to be. They thought they were being celebrated, but of course they were going to be cooked and eaten. But this young black woman, during the ceremony, while he was sitting on the ground and everyone was dancing for him, she danced up to him and then kissed him on the mouth. And he asked the priest, what was that all about? He said that was a marriage proposal. It was very forward. But remember, women do that here. And so this young woman of Kor was obviously interested in him, and she became the focus of Aisha's rage later. And Aisha used her to keep Leo under control a number of times, but she ultimately eye blasted her. She ultimately just bam. And when they made their way into the caves to find the eternal flame, there was a lengthy sequence of them having to make their way through the caves. I was mentioning before how the book is a lot. It was laid out like a video game, like these super lengthy modern adventure video games are. Yeah. This adventure progression comes from Haggard's books. You saw the scene in the film where there was the teetering rock where they were jumping over. There was a scene like that in the book, except they weren't being chased. In fact, Aisha was leading them. And she didn't have a secret passageway, a secret back door to this place. She had to go down there the same way they did, cross the crevasses and ledges and windswept crevasses. And she hardly ever went down there at all. Hundreds of years between visits. But there was a teetering rock, and it was teetering in the wind in this crevasse. And they were having to time their jumps so that they landed on the end of the teetering rock as it was swinging by. It's a video game. It was a platform jumping video game. And Haggard was the first to write like this. Isn't that amazing? The book did end the same way the movie did. She entered the flame and died, and just straight up died. And everyone was like, wait a minute, that was she who must be obeyed. That was Aisha. She just walked into the flame and died. and they didn't know why it happened. They did theorize that maybe you're not supposed to enter it twice. Maybe. But then she came back. There were at least 2 other Aisha books which I have not read, and one of them she meets Alan Quatermain from the King Solomon's Mines books. I should read that. It's like a crossover. You know, now that I think about that, why the hell haven't I read that? So it's basically Indiana Jones meets like the Scarlet Witch. Before we go, I do want to tell you a little bit more about H. Rider Haggard. When he was young, In the 1870s, he fell in love with a woman named Mary Elizabeth Lily Jackson, whom he intended to marry. He wrote to his father informing that he intended to return to England and marry her, and his father forbade it until you establish a career for yourself. He was in South Africa at this time, before it was called South Africa. He did spend a lot of time in South Africa, and he was very impressed with these intrepid European explorers who would come explore the jungles. And that's part of the inspiration. There's a scene in King Solomon's Mines where one of the explorers, he scares the hell out of the natives by pulling out his false teeth. There was a guy who actually did that. And when the guy read that in the book, he was furious. He called Haggard a plagiarist. Anyway, he told his father that he intended to come back to England and marry Lily. His father wouldn't let him. Lily married a banker while he was gone, and Haggard later married another woman. Later, after he became an author, a successful author. And remember, his books were the best-selling books in the world at the time. It says years later, when Haggard was a successful novelist, he was contacted by his former lover, Lily. She had been deserted by her husband, who had embezzled funds from the bank he worked for, and he had fled to Africa. Haggard installed her and her sons in a house and saw to the children's education. God, that actually makes tears come to my eyes. But Lily eventually followed her husband to Africa, where he infected her with syphilis, and shortly after died. She returned to England, and then Lily returned to England, where Haggard again supported her, and she died 2 years later. So that's the kind of guy Haggard was. He sounds like a really great guy. The reason I want to talk about these things, because I talk about these sort of things all the time when we've talked about the people working against racism in television, Betty White, Jack Benny. And I always want to talk about these things when I come across them, because if working against racism in 1950s America was difficult, think about how difficult it had to have been in 1880 England. Good Lord. What an inspiration. I need to read more of his books, because I've read 2 of his books, and they kicked ass. So, yeah, I need to read more about Aisha and see how she survived, how she came back. It has to be comic book stuff. It has to be total comic book stuff, like her atoms were reconstituted by the eternal flames after everybody had left, that sort of thing. Real Red Skull, Captain America, hibernation kind of stuff. Yeah, and I want to see who she eye blasts after that. Man, I wish there had been eye blasts. In the book, she kept her face behind a veil, and even so, there was so much light coming off of her face, even through the veil, that people couldn't look directly at her. Yeah, Carissa, the lasers were totally missing from the movie. But then when she brought Leo back behind the misty door, the misty secret door, and healed him and revived him, she removed the veil and allowed him to see her face. And when he saw her face, it like wiped his mind completely clean. Just seeing her face, just completely turned him into, completely devoted him to her. She had those kind of powers. Haggard was really creative. And she was smart as hell too. Man, she was smart. Nobody could outmaneuver her. I need to read that again, come to think of it. A hell of a character. Okay, we're done. We're almost at the 3-hour mark. Gosh, I've been talking plenty. I've got plenty to say about Haggard and about these books. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Keep in mind, donations are open. They're always open. I'm glad there's 7 people watching now. Chris says it was a solid 3 hours. Yeah, it went by, didn't it? I'll be back Saturday morning with Underdog. We'll be watching Underdog, Tennessee Tuxedo, Commander McBragg. And, yeah, Chris, Underdog. And, of course, I'll be here with Mr. Fox Guy, my co-host. And the next time we have a Thursday evening, it'll be the second Thursday of August. And I don't know what we'll do. It'll be throwback TV, but I don't know what we'll watch. But good night, everybody. Thank you. And see you Saturday. Bye.